Alright guys, I got a funny story for you. So the other day I woke up from my hibernation or sleep, whatever. I was extremely tired and I crawled out of bed to turn on the light and I went over to the hooks that I keep my bathrobe and towel on. I started messing with them, trying to turn on the light, and it was not working. And then I thought, maybe if I try the light switch. And then I walked to it, which is on a completely different wall. I'm not the smartest when I've just woken up. So guys, I'm here with the top 5 video. Today, it's going to be the top 5 true facts about Apple Mobile. Now, these facts are going to start off, they might be a little bit boring, but they do get more interesting as they go on. I did that on purpose. So the most interesting fact is number 1, and the least is number 5. So number 5 fact is that 72 devices that run iOS are iPhones, which leaves 28% to be iPads and iPod Touches. As popular as iPads are, you might expect the iPad number to be higher, but it's not. Number 4 is that iOS used to be referred to as iPhone OS. Why? Because the iPhone used to be the only Apple device that ran it. In the days before the iPod Touch and before the iPad, there wasn't really a need to give it a separate name other than what it was for, the iPhone. Now this is kind of weird. iOS, you used to not be able to change your wallpaper. You could change your lock screen since the very first version, but you couldn't change the actual wallpaper behind the icons on the home screen until I believe iOS 4. Might be wrong with that one, but I believe it's iOS 4. And that's actually the reason jailbreaking started. The first jailbreak was just so you could change your wallpaper. No other tweaks whatsoever. It was only so you could change your wallpaper. And then that feature Apple just brought into iOS natively. And now it's in it today, obviously. For those of you who use iOS devices, obviously it's in it today. But back then, it wasn't. And it sucked. It was stupid. I don't know why they didn't have that. Number 2, it's another thing that iOS used to not have. It used to not have multitasking. In fact, it didn't until iOS 4 in 2010. So, for the first 3 versions of iOS, there's absolutely no way to multitask. When you'd hit the home button, the app would close completely. It would just stop running. With iOS 4, you could multitask. And I put that in quotes because it's not real multitasking. You just double tap the home button and bring up the icons for the apps that are running. It wasn't real multitasking until iOS 7 with a kind of a cards user interface that shows you a window, like a preview of the app that's running. And that's real multitasking. That's something that Android has had for a while. It originated in Palm OS on the Palm smartphones. It's just I'm glad they finally brought it in, but it's just weird to imagine it without any multitasking at all. Alright guys, in case I lost you a little bit, this is an iPod Touch. It's running iOS 6. It's not iOS 4, but it looks about the same. I just want to show you what I meant when I said the multitasking. When you would double tap the home button in iOS 4, 5, and 6, you just get this come up with your rows that you just swipe back and forth between your recently used apps. There was nothing like what's in iOS 7 or what Android introduced multitasking with. You can see your music control there and volume control. Those have moved to Control Center with iOS 7. But that's what quote-unquote multitasking used to be in iOS. And now, fact number 1. Dun dun dun! The iPad was developed before the iPhone was. What? Yes, the iPad was developed before the iPhone was. Joe, how is that possible if the iPad was released 3 years later? So, here's what happened according to Steve Jobs in an interview he did. Back in the mid-2000s, whatever you want to call it, the period between 2000 and 2010, so like 2004, 2005-ish, Steve went to his designers and he asked them to create something, which was an iPad. He described it. He told them what he wanted it to do with the operating system, They said, all right. So he went to, they went to work on that. And when they presented him a prototype, he was looking through the operating system, checking it out. He's like, we can make a phone out of this. So then he put the tablet project on hold, and he started up this iPhone project. And then iOS became put on the iPhone as iPhone OS. They never really had a name for the operating system until the iPhone. So that's why it was called iPhone OS. So they've known for a long time that they would be creating a tablet, but it didn't get picked up again until a few years after the iPhone was released, and the iPad was released in 2010. So guys, tell me, which of these facts did you find the most interesting? Let me know with a comment below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my friend Alex's channel. He's a tech guy just like me. We talk about techie stuff. You know what I do. He does the same type of thing, so go check out his channel. He's good. He knows his stuff. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next Sunday. Number 4 is that iOS used to be referred to as iOS. Oh, yeah. So, in the days before iPod Touch and before iPhone, in the days before the iPod Touch and before the iPhone, why do I keep doing that?